Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy Friday. I am, of course, getting ready for the weekend. Those of you who are watching, you can see my Texas jersey. Those of you who are not, I'm sorry for you. I want to welcome to the show, joining me, we have Blaze TV contributor John Doyle, host of Heck Off Commie as well. Also joining us, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. He is, of course, the Dallas County GOP chairman, and I
graduate of the real university of, not that other one.
Of all the days for you to be here,
Show on your fingernails. Show on your finger.
So there's a story behind this. You may say, oh, that appears to be Tennessee orange. Well, I will tell you, I need to be very careful with my word choice because there are some of my nail techs that are big fans of this program. They're all very much loved, a bunch of Vietnamese immigrants who very much love Donald Trump. And I picked out the burnt orange. And somehow, when I got it on my fingers, it's Tennessee orange, which was not what I
Vols.
You're welcome. Darn it. So let's talk about Kamala Harris, who went on Univision and had this town hall with what was supposed to be undecided Latino voters, they said. And I would say probably they decided to do this because a September NBC News Telemundo poll showed the lowest levels of Hispanic support for Democrats since 2012. So a lot of work to be done. Now, that's not to say that, Hispanics are going to show up overwhelmingly. The majority of Hispanics are going to show up for Republicans, but they keep dwindling. We keep chipping away at that number. And I want to play for you guys. Let's go through some of these lowlights of Kamala Harris talking to these people. So let's first play, of course, border czar Kamala Harris, who maybe, I guess she knows that she's talking to an audience who she thinks this message will resonate with when she talks about illegal immigration and the pathway to citizenship that she wants for millions of illegals. Watch.
So my pledge to you is that by the grace of God and hopefully with your support as well, when I am elected president, I will bring back that border security bill and I will sign it into law. And
why is she talking
do
like
the
that?
work of focusing on what we must do to have an orderly and humane pathway to earn citizenship. And one of the biggest problems with failure to have a comprehensive plan for immigration is that we have not given them the pathway to earn their right to citizenship. And that is, again, that is one of the priorities for me, frankly, in terms of my motivation for what I know we must do. And I think it should compel us to agree they should not have to live in fear, but should have an ability to be on a pathway to earn their citizenship. So it is one of my priorities.
So I can only speak for me, but I will say I obviously am Hispanic, white passing, albeit I'm told by the left I am white passing. But being someone who my family did this the right way, it is so incredibly offensive that she would suggest that these people, I'm sorry, should not live in fear. Yes, they should. They broke the law. They are here illegally. They are stealing taxpayer resources from law-abiding American citizens who are involuntarily giving up to 40% of their income so that it can go be drained by people who should not even be here. That is extremely offensive to me, and I believe a lot more Hispanics, legal Hispanics, American citizens. I know I get told by the left all the time, they're like, Trump's going to deport your ass when he gets back in office. I'm a legal citizen. I'm an American citizen. The fact that you guys just said that shows who the true racists are. You guys always show your true colors. And so I really do think that we are living at a time where this is going to backfire on these people. For so long, they've talked about naturalizing and creating amnesty for all of these people. You can't talk about that when you're talking about 20 million people who have entered now under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's disastrous open borders policies. I just think that Hispanics are tired of having that conversation.
Well, first of all, when you think about it, go back 4 years ago, 2020, what was the big story coming out of Texas? It was that the Rio Grande Valley flipped. And the reason why that happened is because you're talking about a community, as you said, they have done it the right way. And they don't want to see the pressures put on them, the services they have to provide, the crime and criminality that comes back into their communities because of these people coming in illegally. And if the very first action that you take to come to the United States of America is to violate the rule of law, why should we give you citizenship? And yes, these people are living in fear. Why are they living in fear? Because of Tren de Aragua, that is, right here in Dallas, harassing people in the Venezuelan community who tried to escape from that. And that border security bill she keeps talking about, that's $5,000 a day.
Yeah.
That security bill is going to talk about. Multiply that times 365. Not to mention it does nothing for the 300,000 children that somehow they've lost.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because it is so important to keep hammering home. They're calling it a border security bill. It's not. It's absolutely not. It's just putting a loose Band-Aid on a festering wound. It's just going to bring more Border Patrol agents to come to the border, not to prevent these people from coming in. Well, there might be a cap, but before the cap, they're going to let them all in. They're just going to be there to process these people into the interiors of the country.
Yeah, it's like so funny because the resources that they're advertising that would be transferred to the border are exactly as you say, just things to like facilitate the invasion more expediently for these people, but not actually to deter them or to stop it. Whereas, like it's the chief executive could militarize the southern border, and we could literally get down to 0 crossings by like next Monday if we wanted to. But they don't want to because, as you mentioned, they benefit politically by having these people pour into the country, and so their incentive is basically to every now and then pretend that they actually care about Americans' concerns about the border and say, no, don't worry, we're going to bring the bill, we're going to do all these other things, as if she's not in office right now and hasn't been for the last 4 years. I mean, she could do this right now, but she's suffering because she doesn't have the sincerity or the intelligence that Hillary Clinton was obviously insincere, but she at least has been, in this long enough. She could speak in a way that could convince voters maybe. Kamala, as we saw in that other clip too, without her teleprompter, she has no idea what she's talking about, but then she also comes off as like a DMV lady, as like a kindergarten teacher, and so it just doesn't resonate with anybody.
Yeah, and I think, as you mentioned, it's really hard to convince someone. I haven't done this thing in 3.5 years, but trust me when I tell you on day one, when I'm auditioning for this promotion that I want you to give me, I'll get all those things done now. That's just not a good sell. So one of the things that, again, her campaign, I think, has backed themselves into a corner on is, of course, the high cost of goods for American families. The cost of everything has doubled, tripled under the Biden-Harris administration. And one of these voters here at this town hall asked Kamala about the high cost of goods that are, taxing Americans' families' ability to provide for their families. And I just think that she completely botched this response. Watch.
Life is going up and we just simply cannot go ahead. We can't move ahead.
Women, and you said we're ambitious, but it's hard to maintain that ambition when conditions are so hard, so challenging.
Yes. Mi pregunta es entonces.
So my question is as follows. What are you going to do to help the middle class so that the cost of living does not destroy us?
The middle class.
Thank you for the question and your point. Listen, I know prices are too high still. You know prices are too high still. And we have to deal with it. Here's how I feel about it. Again, you've heard my story. I come from the working class. I'm never going to forget where I come from.
With the Tiffany's necklace on her neck right there.
Part of what we have to do is build what I call an opportunity economy, where people have the opportunity, like you have described, for you to be able to work hard and your 5 daughters have an opportunity to then do what they and what you aspire for them to be able to do without having to worry about just getting by. I want you to be able to get ahead. So here's my plan. It includes what we need to do to bring down the cost of, for example, groceries. One of the issues I'm going to be taking on is price gouging.
She comes from the middle class, Colonel.
Yeah,
she's from the middle class.
And Steve Martin in the movie The Jerk was born a poor white child in Mississippi, a black child in Mississippi too. I'm tired of hearing that line. But again, here's someone, you've been there. You're part of the problem. You're the reason why inflation is up, year over year, some 20%, but yet wages are falling woefully behind. So why haven't you done anything about this? And the whole point about price gouging, it's not about price gouging. It's about you going out the oil and gas industry, and therefore you're making the transportation of goods and services even higher. So guess what? That gets pushed down to the consumer consumer. So, I don't understand how she thinks she can continue to go down this line other than just being completely disingenuous to say that, I'm Pontius Pilate. My hands are clean. I haven't had anything to do with this, but as soon as I get in, I will do something about it. But it takes me back to what she said on The View when she was asked, what would you do differently? She said, I have no regrets.
Wasn't that incredible?
Yeah.
That they set her up for that. They're like, okay, we're going to set her up. She can take the off ramp.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell everyone there are some decisions that I would have made differently. She has the ability to separate herself from Joe Biden, and she just didn't do it. I couldn't believe it.
It's because the audience of The View likes that about her. Like, think of all these like rich women want to watch that and just be like, so true, queen, like live your truth and just like act as though she's done nothing wrong. Like, I really believe that when they see videos of Kamala and she's obviously like drunk out of her mind, they like thinking that like you can be this drunk, messy, very off foot and still somehow make your way to the presidency without being held accountable for your actions. I really believe that there is like a demographic of these liberal women who they know that about Kamala, but that's like their favorite part about it.
That doesn't say anything good about
no, absolutely not
the state of that party.
Not, but I think it's still true.
Yeah, you might be right. So let's play another one here. This is a man who's like, I'm not sure, but I think I might be voting for Trump. And I have concerns about the fact that you guys just basically staged a coup against Joe Biden and shoved him out of the way. And now all of a sudden it's you. And that makes me very uncomfortable. Watch.
Right now, leaning towards Trump, but I haven't made a decision. I'm also concerned about the way I feel President Biden was pushed aside.
A poco tiempo de las elecciones.
And so close to the elections, I believe these are extraordinary circumstances.
Given how close we are to the election. So, la pregunta, Mario?
And Mario's question?
The question, Mario.
So the question is, how can you clarify this whole process and how you were elected?
Sure. And first of all, thank you for being so candid and allowing me to answer the question. Thank you. President Biden made a decision that I think history will show was probably one of the most courageous that a president could make, which is he decided to put country above his personal interest. And he made that decision. He within that same period of time, supported my candidacy and urged me to run. He and I have been partners for the last 4 years as his vice president to him as the president. And I am honored to have earned the Democratic nomination.
This is a woman who she's earned nothing. Oh. I mean, seemingly her entire professional career, she's earned nothing. We all know how she got to where she was in California by being close with Willie Brown, right? Mm-hmm. The only reason that she ran for president the last time around. What percentage of the votes did she get?
Like 3. She had to drop out before Iowa.
I don't even think it was 3.
I think it was like 1.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone decided she sucked at this and nobody wanted her and nobody liked her. The only reason that she is currently vice president is because she is a woman of color.
And then too, her White House staff had a turnover rate of 92%, which I think is like the highest in the history of that position. So anyone who is in proximity to her at any level, whether it's like seeing her pitch herself for, the presidential nomination in 2020, working for her in the White House, they just decide that they want nothing to do with her. And I think actually that's why Biden chose her as his vice president. I think it was, the DEI stuff, but I also think it's because he knew that she's so hated that he could become president and they would sooner keep him in as a vegetable than, swap him out for Kamala with the 25th Amendment. And I mean, that seems to be what ended up happening. So.
Yeah, but I do think that Joe Biden, it seems like there is some bad blood there.
Of course there is.
I think he's very subtly trying to sink her.
Well, in case in point, just recently with the hurricane that hit Florida, and she's out there throwing a little fit like a little child about, Governor DeSantis didn't take my call. And what does Joe Biden say? Well, I've been talking to Governor DeSantis and he's doing a great job. He's on it. And so that's just like 2 torpedoes in your broadsides. Yeah. But I think the real thing that you see in the Latino community is that they've seen this happen before in other countries. All of a sudden, someone's just pushed aside, and you didn't earn this. You weren't elected. You were selected. And it was a very backdoor, smoky room type of thing that happened, because how do you go from, as you just said, John, someone that has a lower approval rating than Joe Biden to all of a sudden you're the next best thing since sliced bread and you're going to be our president? No, this is something that was constructed, and she knows that.
Yeah, which is why it's so difficult for her to sell it. So I want to play this moment here where, Donald Trump goes to a town hall. You're pretty confident that he's speaking off the cuff. Donald Trump, he's very funny when he does that. He's pretty good at just talking off the cuff, talking to people, being relatable. Well, I think they had an oopsies over at Univision, because they had this pan that I'm about to show you. The camera pans behind Kamala, and oopsies, you see that she's actually using a teleprompter but don't worry, I'm sure she didn't receive any questions beforehand, okay? Everything was on the up and up, I'm totally sure. No idea what she was reading in that case. So watch her reading the teleprompter, and then the moment that they realized, oh crap, we're on camera, watch.
Victim of crime, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? The only question I ever asked is, are you okay?
You can see the writing there.
And sadly, we have seen over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene.
Black it out, black it out, black it out. We use teleprompters here at the studio. I know there's like a button that you press to turn it black, and they're like, oh crap, you can see the teleprompter, black it out. Which, honestly, who could blame them? Because, John, you mentioned it earlier. We saw the moment last week when her teleprompter did go out at a rally, and this was about the only thing that she could keep regurgitating. Watch.
Remember his number, 32. Today we got 32 days until the election.
Okay.
Why is she speaking like that?
This is what I love.
Yes.
So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days.
Oh my gosh, she's so bad. She's so bad at this. 32 days. I think we're up to 5 different accents as well that she has.
Apparently she was teasing a Hispanic accent, which I saw, because she was like, okay, or she said it something like that.
At the Univision one.
I don't mean to offend you, but that is how I heard. You were silencing a black conservative voice earlier, though, with your football rivalry. So I don't want to hear that from you. But
shut up, John.
Okay.
Now, a white conservative voice.
Yeah, true. This is what we get.
This is called equality.
Yeah.
DEI.
I apologize for the Mexican-American War. That was took it too far.
I mean, obviously, you are no stranger to politics.
Yeah.
How can you have been doing this for so long, like she has?
No, whoa.
She was a DA.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, she hasn't been doing this.
But being a DA?
Everyone else has been doing this. I'm sure that when you go back and you look at all the cases that she says that she was doing, it was her staff.
It must have been.
And she's just taking credit for it, because you consistently see someone that cannot think extemporaneously. When you look at that clip of her, it is clear. Who turned off my words? Okay. And you can see the smoke coming out of the ears.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. And so that clip where you showed at the Univision, where all of a sudden, you've got the teleprompter and they click it off. It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz when he says, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that person got chewed out.
Oh, for sure.
That's probably now part of the 93 or 94% staff turnover.
It's like, with a Trump White House, there's like an incentive there perhaps to maybe want to leave because, the swamp is after him. And so you don't maybe want that on your resume forever. But if you're like in the swamp working for the Biden White House, what better opportunity do you have? I mean, it must have been so horrible that they're like, okay, I get that this is like where I should be right now, but working for Kamala is just so insufferable that I'm gonna jump ship.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to let's talk about just how desperate the Kamala Harris campaign is, that they now have Barack Obama stumping for Kamala emasculating black men to try to shame them into voting for her. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Relief Factor. So those of you who live in constant pain, you may think this is just your life now. This is the way life is, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Don't do that. Try Relief Factor. It's an all-natural anti-inflammatory, and it actually targets the root cause of your pain, which is the inflammation. So whether it's knee pain, neck pain, back pain, it doesn't help with, like, if you have a spouse that's a pain in the ass, it doesn't help with that. I'm sorry to tell you. But if you actually have body pain, it can help you. Try their 3-week quick start. It's $19.95, and 70% of the people who order that go on to keep ordering more. So the odds are in your favor. It's going to work for you. They've got a guarantee. You've got nothing to lose except your pain. Go to ReliefFactor.com. Get that 3-week quick start over at ReliefFactor.com. So former President Barack Obama, someone who was one of the last to finally come out and endorse Kamala Harris during this whole coup. He and Michelle were noticeably absent at the start of all of this to come out and support Kamala. But I think the campaign realizes that they are in a free fall. And so they have recruited Barack to come out and stump for Kamala. And he made a campaign stop in Pittsburgh, trying to reach out to black men who apparently they are losing at alarming rate, to try to tell them that they need to support Kamala Harris. And I want to play a couple different clips here. Here is Barack Obama admitting that the energy is not there when it comes to backing Kamala. Watch.
Is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
It's more pronounced with the brothers, Colonel.
You want me to really respond to that? First of all, let me tell you something. No little skinny punk ass Delta male metrosexual is going to intimidate me into voting for Kamala Harris. And I'm talking to you, Barack, wherever the camera is. I think this is offensive because if you remember back, Joe Biden referred to Barack Obama as clean and articulate. And then Joe Biden says, if you're not black, if you're not voting for me. And now he's trying to come out and shame people into voting for someone based upon, the melanin in their skin. And he was a failure when it came to his policies toward the black community. If you want to talk about someone that did the most for the black community, that was Donald Trump with, the urban economic zones, the support to the historical black college and university, even the criminal justice reform, all of these things. And people in the black community know that they were able to go to the grocery store and afford it. They can go to the gasoline pump and they could afford it. But this poor excuse of an individual is supposedly going to fearmonger me and, strong black men, I guess that's what he's upset about, into voting for someone just because. I mean, this guy sucks. Yeah. I think he's mentally deranged. And I think that this is all about him losing perceived power. That's what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, it is rather rich for him to make his way to Pittsburgh from Martha's Vineyard, for him to lecture all of these black men in Pittsburgh on why they need to vote for Kamala Harris when they, of course, are the ones who are suffering under Kamala Harris's policies right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And Obama, too, I mean, the hypocrisy of him having not even supported Kamala and then now coming out later, because in the initial statement, you remember, he did not say I'm endorsing Kamala. He just said, good move, Joe, because Obama world did not want Kamala to be the nominee. And then I think Joe Biden, the move there was his one final middle finger to Washington. He waited for that statement to come out and then he put out the photo with, we're with Kamala. And by that point, it's like, we can't switch again. We can't jump to a different lily pad because disorganization does not exactly inspire confidence among the electorate. And so they just had to run with it and maybe, I guess, batten down the hatches until 2028 where they can run somebody who's maybe more talented.
Yeah, because remember, when Joe Biden dropped out, of course, he didn't say anything about Kamala. And then it wasn't until whoever was controlling Joe Biden's social media, who said, I endorse Kamala. And that was so really, honestly, the person who made that choice was whoever the social media grunt was.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to, or whoever instructed that person. That's really not a great way to rule a country, I feel. Let's go ahead and play Barack Obama talking to this audience and talking about how Donald Trump denigrates them. Watch.
You're thinking about sitting down or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable.
Right. So Donald Trump denigrates people. Okay. But later, just mere hours later, you hear Obama go out on stage and make this statement. We'll call it a joke. I guess it was a joke, but make this statement about Donald Trump. Watch.
I remember changing diapers. You think Donald Trump ever changed a diaper? Yeah. I almost said that, but I decided I shouldn't say
They,
it.
of course, said his own. I was totally fine with, a dementia patient in the White House for 4 freaking years, but I'm going to make fun of Donald Trump because he's old, so he must wear diapers. But don't worry, it's the Republicans who are the divisive ones.
Well, this shows, like I said, the level that they have devolved into, because this is desperation on their side, without a doubt. And it is not funny whatsoever. To me, it is very demeaning, again, that he's going to come out there. This is a former president talking about changing diapers. He's not talking about principles. He's not talking about policies. He's not talking about what people, especially in the black community, are suffering under. The crime, again, all of these criminals that are being released, they go back into the black communities. They go back into the Hispanic communities. That's what people are seeing that they don't want to deal with. But to me, that's denigrating what he is talking about. And furthermore, I would say, I've never seen Barack Obama say anything about some of these black rap artists that truly do demean and denigrate, black women.
That's a great point.
Yeah, Trump seems to have throughout his entire career in public life gotten along very well with winners and not so well with losers, regardless of skin color. Like, he was very close with Mike Tyson. He was all of these black celebrities and cultural icons seem to get along very well with Donald Trump. But then you have people like Barack Obama or these other characters who their job is basically to come around every 4 years and try to take advantage of black America. And he doesn't get along so well with them. And I think that says more about them than it does Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I think what he just did is going to hurt them even more. And I would not be surprised if you see somewhere between 20 and 25% of the black community come out and vote for Donald Trump because of what he just did.
Your lips to God's ears.
I think it's going to happen.
I hope so. Because I know we got to go to break, but because it's not just the offensive nature of the statement. It's also the fact that we're living in a Biden-Harris regime where, again, they feel the effects on their wallet. But on top of that, I just wonder when minorities, because Hispanics included, when minorities will have had enough with all of this, the transing of the kids and the communism and, the taking family values out of this country. I mean, that seems to be everything that they're against. So it's like, you just have to believe that at a certain point, they're just going to say, I've had enough.
The greatest killer of blacks in the United States of America is dismembering our babies in the womb.
Yep.
And then after that is the crime. And here is, this president coming down and talking about changing diapers. There's not a whole lot of diaper changing in the black community because we're murdering our babies.
That's a great point. Sad to say, but very true. All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be back with more, but want to thank our sponsor of this segment, First Liberty. So Joe Biden, he has said before he leaves office that he wants to reform the courts, reform the Supreme Court. Now, the left is often so good at using intentional language. Not that what they're actually going to do. They want you to feel comfortable with the words that they use. But make no mistake, this is going to be, of course, court packing. That is their ultimate goal. And so they want to eliminate the court's conservative majority by packing the Supreme Court with their own handpicked justices, these little activists who are going to, of course, legislate from the bench. So First Liberty, They want you to do something. It's going to be the easiest thing that you are asked to do today. They're calling this a Supreme Court coup because it is. And what they're asking you to do is go to their website, add your name to their letter saying no to the Biden plan. Don't Venezuela my United States. All right. You can go sign your name to this letter. Send a message over at supremecoup.com/Sarah. Coup is spelled with a P. Okay. supremecoup.com/Sarah. So one of the issues I think that's plaguing this, not just this administration, but obviously Kamala's campaign, is we kind of mentioned it earlier with not just illegal immigration, but also sometimes legal immigration. Of course, flying all of these Haitians into this country, flying Afghanis into this country to then plot election day terrorist attacks. And so there's now an estimated 5,000 Haitian migrants they call them, with air quotes, who have landed in a small rural town of Logansport, Indiana. This is 18,000 people. And now they have 5,000 Haitians just plop right there now in their city. The mayor says he doesn't know how many of these people have come into his city. The federal government, the state government, nobody can verify to him how many people they just planted in their city. And I want to play why all of these Haitians are coming into Logansport. Watch.
Stopped by the Jehovah Jireh Haitian market on North Street and talked with the owner and asked him how many Haitian immigrants now call Logansport home.
I don't know exactly, but maybe more than 2,000.
Walk-ins moved to Logansport from Florida 4 years ago. He told me what brought him.
Tyson.
Watkins is talking about the Tyson meatpacking plant. He used to work there, but now owns this market. He started it because Logansport didn't have anything for the growing Haitian population. He says people are coming to earn a living.
Tyson, good money. Yeah, he make good money.
Yeah.
So they're coming here with certain employment authorization documents issued to temporary protected status individuals. Now, this is not sustainable. This was not sustainable 5 years ago. It's not, it's like so far beyond unsustainable at this point. It's what, 80% of Americans favor mass deportations. I can't fathom the 20% who don't look at this and understand how this ends if we continue to allow these people in to drain our financial resources. It's just simply unsustainable.
Well, first of all, it's unconstitutional because the president does not have any constitutional authority under Article 2 to say to people from another country, you know, I'm going to put you on an airplane and grant you, you know, immunity, and we're just going to fly you and drop you off somewhere. That is clearly a specified enumerated duty to the Congress in Article 1. So first of all, it's unconstitutional. The other thing is that you got businesses and corporations. They want to have the cheap labor. You look at the United States Chamber of Commerce, they're all for this. So one side of the aisle wants the political advantage. The other side of the aisle wants, you know, this cheap labor advantage. And who ends up losing overall? The everyday Joe and Jane six-pack American, that now they're not going to be able to get those jobs. And furthermore, their taxes are going to go up to provide more goods and services. It's going to hurt the children in the schools because it's going to set back how well we can teach our kids, because now you got a segment of kids that, you know, you first of all have to probably teach them English.
So, okay, so to that point, I want to get your thoughts here, John, but let's play a clip. This is a clip about all of this. You know, they've got this influx now, to the Colonel's point, of all of these non-English speaking students. How do you deal with that? Watch.
Last week they had, my final count that I knew of, they had 16 newcomers. That week. And a lot of them are coming unaccompanied.
A startling report from the Cass County Health Department administrator during a September county commissioner meeting. Serenity Alter sits in meetings with new children enrolled in Logansport schools. She listens to them describe their journey to the city.
Most of them fly from Haiti to Nicaragua to Mexico and then to whatever state they're flying to. A lot of them, like we met a couple last week that hadn't seen their parents in about 7 years. It's a eye-opener.
The overall growth of school enrollment jumped by nearly 150 kids in 3 years. This year, there are 207 Haitian students in Logansport schools, up from 14 in 2021. They also have new students from 11 other countries, including Guatemala, Cuba, Honduras, and El Salvador.
John?
They all have to go back. And unfortunately, like if you're a kid and this happened, your parents broke the law, they messed up, write a novel about it or something. It's really not our problem, unfortunately. I mean, as you know, he mentioned in the Constitution, the letters and the writing at the top of the documents is for our posterity. We've been here for generations. It is for literally the Constitution. This is what we're about, and this is who it's for. Americans, our people. And the rest of the world wants to come here and take advantage of that. And, you know, they allude to this like Ellis Islander imagery of they want to come here for a better life. And they're not exactly starting businesses the way that maybe these older immigrants are. They want to come here for a better life in the sense that they want to be on the public dole and be siphoning resources away from Americans. And we can't allow for that to happen. And so, yeah, it's very optimism inducing that it polls so highly, mass deportations. And you still notice, though, that despite that being such a politically popular issue, only Donald Trump is touching that. Yeah. Even like other big Republican names, they talk about, you know, securing the border, but they do not use the words mass deportation because, as he mentioned as well, with how the parties benefit from either the cheap labor or from the political advantage, like there are people who are dependent upon the system for their job and for their status, and they don't want to touch that because ultimately immigration is such a reliable source of power for the establishment.
Yeah, because it sounds icky to say we need to deport them. No, we're way past. We're way past that. Okay, we were way past that a long time ago. All right, we've got to. I got to take a quick break, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys being here.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Go Vols. The only person I would say that to.
Because I'm the only Tennessee graduate that you know.
That's actually not true. My uncle is as well. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here. Have a great weekend, and we will be right back. So a couple days ago, I was on the platform formerly known as Twitter, as one does, scrolling, and I came across this video that I want to share with you guys. It was actually a Bexar County here in the state of Texas, Bexar County sheriff candidate named Nathan Buchanan, who literally caught a woman with a Harris Walls t-shirt on, stealing his campaign sign from his neighbor's yard, and filmed the exchange. And I want to play that for you guys. Watch.
Take this one. That's okay.
I'm sorry?
Can I take this one?
Harris Walls, and you're taking my sign?
Yeah, I mean, this is... So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Because it's not your sign. This is on the street.
This is my neighbor's yard. My neighbor said I can put this in his yard.
But this is not his yard.
Yes, it is his yard.
It's not his yard.
Are you the sign patrol now? What's your name?
This is not your sign.
This is theft. What is your name?
What is your name?
I'm Nathan Buchanan. I'm running for sheriff. This is my sign. This is my neighbor's yard.
This is not his yard.
Yes, it is.
It is?
It is his yard.
No, it's not. You have 4 feet.
That's funny. Harris Walls, and you're going around taking Republican signs.
Here she goes. Not so bold anymore, huh? There she goes. But it's not over.
Unbelievable.
All right. Driving to her yard. Oh, look at that.
Oh, it's funny. You have a Salazar sign in your yard, and you're trying to steal mine.
Really? Well, you didn't even know what I was going to do. You're accusing me.
Yeah, you were taking it and putting it in your truck. I have you on camera.
Wow. I reached out to Mr. Buchanan, and I want to welcome him now to the show, of course, running against Javier Salazar, a Democrat, who apparently this woman was a big fan of. Welcome to the program, Nathan. I want to ask you, have any charges been filed against this woman? What's the status? Because I fully believe in giving these people a taste of their own medicine as far as lawfare goes, especially when they're actually committing crimes.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me first off. But yeah, I did file a police report against her. Now I need to follow up with property crimes, and I will be going forward with pressing charges on her. I know it's kind of petty. I know it's just a political sign.
It's not petty, though. Hold on. It's not petty. It's so much more than that. I mean, they want to silence us out of existence, and they have no. You saw how casual she was. Just say, you don't mind if I take this, right? And then she wanted to turn it around and gaslight you. I am so I am so over people trying to make us think that we're being petty. It is so much more than that. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, you're fine. When I say petty, I like the amount of what it's worth.
Sure.
But it's worth a lot more than just, monetary. It's worth a lot because it's getting a message out there. And, I kind of laugh at it because that just tells me and affirms, that I'm over the target and someone's running scared right now.
Yeah. I mean, tell me, like, in the state of Texas, how sad is it that we have people, Democrats, who are so emboldened that they think that they can just walk onto someone's property, steal something that is not theirs, walk away, and then actually have the audacity to argue with someone when they confront them on it. I mean, that is a sad state of affairs here in the state of Texas. It
is. But you know what? I keep saying this over and over again. Whenever something happens here in San Antonio, or, like the other day we had Tren de Aragua, that cartel coming from Venezuela, they took over an apartment complex here, and the police had to go in there and bust it up. The sheriff wasn't involved in that raid, of course. But, this is what happens when we have weak leadership. The sheriff is the highest authority in the county. And this is what happens when we have a weak leader. People know that they can do this and get away with it. That's going to change here real soon.
Hold on a second. I was reliably informed by the left that having Tren de Aragua here in the United States taking over apartment complexes was total conspiracy theory. That's what I was told. But you're telling me it's actually happening and you're watching it happen in your county.
Yeah, it actually made news here in San Antonio. So if they want a reference, they can actually go ahead and look. They arrested over 20 members. And I think they said that at least 4 of them were confirmed hitmen for that gang. But this is what's coming across our border. This is what open borders does to us. This is what we have here in our backyard. And, I'm ready to tackle it because I was born and raised here. I used to ride my bicycle till the lights came on and playing with my friends in the streets, tag, hide and go seek. Those days are gone. This is no longer San Antonio, the big city with a small town feel. And I want to get back to that. It's sad where we're at today. It's very sad.
And would you say that a large part of San Antonio falling the way that it has is due to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's open borders policy?
Absolutely. You can see the spike in crime since, they took office and they started allowing this. I'm glad that Greg Abbott's taking a stand for it and actually doing something about it, which he did endorse me because he knows I'm going to be tough on this. We have the largest migrant center here in San Antonio, which I plan on shutting down within my first week in office. Some on the left are telling me it's impossible, you can't do it. Nathan's racist. Well, I'm half Hispanic myself, so I don't know who I'm racist against. But they're just saying it can't be done. I don't know my opponents tell me I don't know the duties of a sheriff. Wasn't it him that was shutting down businesses and issuing citations during COVID? Who was telling people they can't stay open, they can't make a living, they can't put food on the table for their families. And I don't know the duties of a sheriff. You need to check yourself, guy. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a great
These
point.
People are crossing these people are crossing the border illegally. The federal government may be allowing it, but SB4, the new law that was signed into act here by Greg Abbott, gives local law enforcement, the authority now to enforce immigration laws. It's illegal here. It's not only a federal crime, they're also breaking a state law. And, I'm wrong for wanting to enforce it. It's not my job to make the laws. It's my job to enforce them. That's exactly what I plan on doing. I'm not going to try to be political like Salazar. I'm not going to try to be on the stage at the RNC, in full uniform at that, saying that this is what the whole department represents. And that's not what it is. If you wanted to go on stage dressed in a suit or something, or dressed like a cowboy or something, whatever, by all means do it, whatever. But don't say that this is what the department represents, because that's not what it is.
Right.
Go up there as yourself. Don't go up there as the Bexar County Sheriff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was it was very representative of what the Democrat Party stands for, just your entire video, because they are we are now the party of law and order, and they are the party of lawlessness, whether it is filing bogus indictments against Donald Trump and weaponizing the judicial system against him, whether it is punishing pro-life protesters for daring pray outside of abortion facilities, whether it is stealing signs of your political opponent because you can't handle a fair race, you can't handle an election actually being secure. This just is so, that video, it was so representative to me of the entire Democrat Party at this point in time, how easily she just tried to blow you off, tried to lie to your face, tried to say this isn't his property. I mean, it was just so encapsulating of the Democrat Party to me, not just here in Texas, but seemingly nationwide.
It is, and it's sad it's taken that hard of a left turn. I'm getting a lot of crossover Democrats saying that they're going to vote for me. Some of them don't like Donald Trump, and they say, I'm not voting for Trump. No way, shape, or form will I ever support him. A lot of people are saying that. But they're actually picking Republican candidates here locally, which is good. And I ask them, how come you're not going to vote, straight down ballot? How come you're not going to stay, within the Republican lines? And a lot of them are saying, this is not what the party represents anymore. They don't represent me. They represent themselves. These are some very powerful people on the left, and they're representing themselves, and they've taken a very hard turn left. The JFK days are over, and that's what they want. That's what they a lot of them don't realize it, but if you actually have a conversation with them and let them know, like, what the Republican Party platform is, or what the conservative platform is, a lot of these people are conservative.
Yeah.
They want small government. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to live their lives. They want low taxes. And once you start telling them that, hey, do you want to have the right to protect yourself? Or do you think you should wait for the government to come in and protect you if someone's kicking in your door? And they're all on the same page with that. And I'm like, you might be a little more conservative than you think.
Right.
But I'm glad a lot of them are opening their eyes, and they're starting to see, exactly what this party has turned into.
Yeah.
It's very corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very dangerous also. It's scary.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Nathan, I appreciate you joining me, and I want to encourage anyone who, if you guys are in Bexar County and you want to learn more about the race, you can go to BuchananForSheriff.com, learn more about it. But I would say a county like this that has perhaps been infiltrated by too many left-leaning people, I think people are seeing the results of just decades-long leftist leadership and where that leads to. And people are waking up and saying, I don't like this anymore. I don't like that people feel emboldened to go into my yard and steal my yard sign. So appreciate you, wishing you the best of luck. Everyone who wants to find out more about the race or go and help support him, you can go to BuchananForSheriff.com. Appreciate you, Nathan.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks. All right. We will be right back. Big game for the Texas Longhorns this weekend, as I mentioned earlier. And I would like to, at this point, to go to the control room. My husband, Steven.
Yes.
Hi. Where's your burnt orange?
Yeah, this is kind of burnt orange.
It's not burnt orange at all.
It's kind of.
Where's your Okay, this is broken, but it did at one point have the entire Alabama logo on it because I support your team. Where are you at, bro?
I'll have it on tomorrow. Don't worry.
Are we going to win?
Yeah, I think so, 100%.
But you never know what's going to happen at the
I'm more concerned about my game before that.
You should be concerned.
Yeah, I should be concerned.
Guys, last weekend, it was not fun. It was not a good time in my household during the Alabama game. I'm just gonna he's just shaking his head in shame. So well, we'll see what happens. Anything can happen at the Red River Shootout, but hook 'em horns. We'll see you Monday.